Hello viewers, welcome to yet another edition of Raxio Hour. Pleasure having you back. The digital revolution is playing a significant role in reshaping the future of businesses and entrepreneurship. Its impact has trickled down to quite a number of sectors, and the tourism sector is no exception. This week, we featured David Gonahasa, co-founder of the Naturalist, the implementer of the Home of the Gorillas project, an initiative aimed at finding alternative ways to fund mountain gorilla conservation. Part of what is being implemented within the project is the Migraine Family app, a tech-driven application that offers gorilla enthusiasts first-hand virtual interaction with Uganda's famous mountain gorillas. Listen as David speaks more on the Migraine Family app, as well as his thoughts on applying technology in tourism and conservation.
Hi, my name is David Gonahasa and I am co-founder of the Naturalist, where we are implementing the Home of the Gorillas project. So the Migraine Family application is an outcome of the Home of the Gorillas project. So Home of the Gorillas as an entirety is trying to find alternative ways to fund mountain gorilla conservation. As you know, Uganda has 50% of the world's mountain gorillas, and if as human beings who live in proximity or close to them don't do much, these species could easily be wiped out. So Home of the Gorillas is one of those ideas that is trying to help save the mountain gorilla. What the Migraine Family application does is we put videos in, we put cameras in the forest, and the idea was that we could film the gorillas day to day, be able to get that content, put it onto an application that anyone, anywhere in the world can be able to access. You pay a small amount of money for this, you're able to see these gorillas, join a gorilla family, see what these gorillas are doing on a daily basis, be able to be part of the conservation community, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this application and project as a whole. The Home of the Gorillas idea was the brainchild of someone called Fidelis Kanyamunyu. He grew up in the Bwindi area, right at the edge of the forest. His family and him used to make their livelihood from inside the forest. Over time, they realized that tourism was not giving as much to the community as it should have. Not everyone in the community made money from it. Not everyone was actually getting much from the tourists. And the idea, or his idea, was always to say, how can we find other ways to get some money into the communities from gorilla conservation? So the initial idea was to start with a festival, one big party to celebrate conservation. And then that's when I joined the team, and we then figured we could, use technology to be able to help save the mountain gorilla. So the Migraine Family application was built locally by local developer teams, and we're very proud of that. The fact that it's a purely Ugandan application, purely Ugandan solution, solving a problem of conservation in Uganda. So when we first set up, we realized that every day of footage of each camera in the forest was giving us 30 GB of data or of footage. So we initially thought we would simply use online cloud storage to be able to move it around, but we found ourselves having to use physical infrastructure like roads and buses to get the footage to Kampala. When it comes into Kampala, we have a team look at it, do the edits, pick out the best footage, and then create short fun videos that we then post on the application. So we are constantly learning about how best to optimize this process, and we think that over the next couple of months, we should be able to find a way to just use existing data channels to move it around. The thing is, why technology? Technology gives us the farthest possible reach. We're able to speak to many more customers all over the world. We're able to speak to many more people. We're able to attract larger communities to be a part of gorilla conservation, and that's why we chose to go with a subscription-based application. One of the questions we get asked the most is, where does it go after a subscription-based application? The Home of the Gorillas project will launch, or will issue, the first conservation NFT in Uganda linked to real mountain gorillas. People all over the world will be able to purchase rights to digital imagery of Uganda's mountain gorillas. We intend to issue 2 levels of this NFT. There will be what we call the silverback NFT, which is the primary rights. This gives you rights to imagery of a specific gorilla, and then we'll also do collectibles. And the collectibles will be cheaper, and they'll be linked to the primary NFT. And this means that more people can participate in this issue at an even much lower cost. We want to use the NFT to make Uganda's mountain gorillas the most visible gorillas. One of the hardest things about building conservation ventures is funding. There's not very many organizations that are interested in, backing what you may consider for-profit conservation enterprises like we as a business. So we sought to seek funding through accelerators or grant partnerships. And one of the ones that we got into was the Beyond Tourism Accelerator. This was run by the Luke Hoffman Institute in partnership with the African Leadership University. And you had about 15 companies, actually there were about 700 companies that applied. 15 companies from across Africa got into the final selection, and we made it to the top 3. I like to say we got the most money from that particular position. That funding or that grant, one, was great validation for our idea because the world began to notice. We were able to get to engage with some of the biggest conservation enterprises or conservation agencies, validate our business model. And the best part is we had enough funding to be able to really get the project off the ground in terms of buying gear, equipment, and building technology. The thing about conservation is it's not only about the animals. There's the One Health approach to conservation, which means that you need to conserve the entire biodiversity of an area. Okay, so it means that it will cover the forest, it will cover the animals, it will cover the people who live in proximity to the forest. What the My Gorilla Family application does, or the Home of the Gorilla project does, is we are unlocking value where it never was before. Okay, we're finding new ways to create value where it wasn't. And the best part about the contract that we have is that the funding that comes in from the people in the community, a part of it goes, yes, straight to conservation. A part of it also goes to the community. In fact, 20% of it goes towards projects in the community. So on one part, this project can create a decent amount of funding. In fact, based on what our models look like, we believe that we can do up to $3.4 million annually in funding to mountain gorilla conservation. But what's even more exciting is about $900,000 goes to the community. And this goes towards funding community projects like the community livelihood, finding other ways to reduce human pressure on the forest. So if it is making sure that they have the skills to create their own incomes, that means that they won't want to enter the forest to get trees and honey and gold. So in the short run, we will be able to create a lot more visibility for the mountain gorilla conservation. We'll be able to increase funding for mountain gorilla conservation. But in the long run is where we see the real impact, because then we're able to actively change livelihoods, hopefully keep this species alive for so much longer with such initiatives. COVID-19 was a very big opportunity for technology. COVID-19 opened up the world to seeing the real power of technology, from marketplaces that could get products to you very quickly to fintech solutions that would help you pay for all your bills without moving an inch. We've seen most recently the rise of companies like Rocket Health who are fixing telemedicine. So why not tourism? We believe that technology is going to allow tourism products or tourism companies to increase distribution of their products, increase packaging, increase reach for customers, but even more important things like conservation. You will see so much more NFT activity happening in conservation, way more than is currently happening. You will see more people being able to participate remotely in solving problems or needs that they'd like to be a part of. So we think technology is going to change how people do tourism, conservation, and almost anything else in the world. Most recently, we launched the iOS version, and we believe that that will drive up subscriptions substantially. We, of course, have to figure out how to really increase our marketing to Europe and the Americas, because that's exactly where our core target customers. From initial launch periods, there's been a very positive reaction with customers coming in and subscribing and paying for it. And we believe that with increased marketing, we should be able to reach our target number of customers that we're looking at over the next 3 years.
How would you like to be remembered, David?
I think for me, it's not so much about legacy or how will I be remembered. It's more about responsibility. We're in this world for something, right? And it's the hardest thing to find out why, but try. So if it's conservation or it's tourism development or it's whatever it is, or it's just try to be responsible for a few things in a while. So do I care about being remembered? No, I don't. Do I want to try and be responsible and do a few good things? I definitely will try.
Thank you, David. It was great having you on the show. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a wonderful weekend.